Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you very much for attending on this beautiful Sunday. Welcome to UQ Open Day, and welcome particularly to our presentation this morning on studying medicine at the University of Queensland. I'm with my friend and colleague, Phil Towers, our head of Phase 1. My name's Jenny Schaefer, I'm the director of the program. And Michael Auld is one of our student reps, and he's here with more information. We are concerned. We have 30 very short minutes to share with you all the things we want to tell you, and we know right now it won't be enough. So we have a plan. And our plan is, if you want more information, as you leave, come and talk to Michael. He'll be standing near the door with his brochures. And in amongst that is forms you can fill in so that you can get more information about Faculty of Health Sciences generally. And we are only one component of that, although we think we're a pretty special component. And Phil and I are happy to make ourselves available just outside the doors. We do need to move outside because another presentation will be occurring inside, but we won't be rushing away. I'll be here well into the afternoon, so we're happy to take any questions outside that you have. So thank you. We'll move forward. So, University of Queensland School of Medicine Medical Program. Let me tell you. My first question for you is, why medicine? Now, some of you here are students, potential students, some of you are here are parents. So just so I've got an idea of who's in our audience, can I just see, first of all, the parents? How many parents have we got here? Well done. Thank you. Okay, of our students, who's here because they've wanted to do medicine since the day they were born? Okay. Who of you here because you've wanted to do medicine and it's only crept up on you recently, but you think it might be a little bit interesting and today you want to find out a little bit more? Terrific. And who of you here have no idea if you want to do medicine at all, but hey, it was scheduled and it was a convenient place and you thought you'd drop in and find out some more information? Beautiful. The first thing I want to say to you is you're all welcome. There was no wrong answer to that question. The diversity of our cohort is such that we welcome everyone. While the people that have wanted to do medicine since the day they were born are very welcome and often make very dedicated and skilled doctors, so do the others to whom medicine has come upon them more recently. So I guess my answer to this question that I will share with you, and I will share with you as a very proud University of Queensland School of Medicine graduate, 30 years ago, you can do the maths. I've come the full circle, so I studied with UQ. Very proud of my school, very happy with my education. I have then spent many years in the workforce. My vocational area is general practice, but in amongst that I've had lots of interesting experiences. So in addition to my general practice, I've managed to run a small business, I've travelled and worked overseas, I've worked in the media as a medical reporter, I've raised 2 very adorable sons to adulthood, and I've done a whole pile of other interesting things, including altruistic things, promoting good causes and supporting medicine and encouraging people to value their health. So it's actually been a very interesting and varied career. So that's one reason why you might like to think about medicine. I imagine the reason many of you are here today is because medicine's one of those careers where you can actually blend a couple of different things. From an academic perspective, would everyone like to, there's more seats up the back, please feel free to go and find seats. Please don't sit on the stairs. We do have a workplace safety issue where if there's a fire you'll be trapped, but there are free seats, so please find them. Many people are attracted to medicine because it's a wonderful combination of science, and many of you, we know that the students that come to us are very academically gifted. But it also combines the joy of science with the joy of caring for people. And we are certainly looking for people who want to care for people. It's not an easy career. It's an interesting career. It's a stimulating career. It's a rewarding career. It's a career that you can feel good about as you go to sleep at night and towards the end of your life when you reflect back and think, what have I done? So there are many wonderful, wonderful components, but it is not an easy career, and today I'm here to be honest with you, so I'll tell you the good bits and I'll tell you the bad bits. The tricky bits. Our course is tough. Only apply if you're fearless. We make no apologies for having a tough course, because there is no point if it's not tough, because the career ahead of you is even tougher. Okay? The most important message I want to give to you is medicine is not a career about you. If you embark upon this career, it is not about you at all. There's a level of self-sacrifice in every area of medicine. You have to be prepared to make some sacrifices. We're compromised daily. The needs of our patients are greater than our personal needs. Now, that's not to say we ignore our personal needs, because to be good, safe doctors, we do need to achieve that work-life balance. We need enough sleep, we need to eat, we need to be thinking comprehensively. But when it comes to a crunch, there'll be times in your career where you have to make a choice between your patients and yourself, and in those crunchy times, your patients must come first. Okay, that's the most important message if you remember nothing else today. There are challenging times. There are times when you'll be sleep deprived, there'll be times when you're food deprived, there'll be times when you feel like you're out of your comfort zone, there'll be times when you feel you're asked to do things that you're not adequately qualified or skilled for. There'll be times when your personal values will be challenged by what you're required to do. There'll be times when you're asked to do extraordinary things for people that you may not feel good about doing those things for. These are all challenges that you must face. You must also learn to live with anxiety. If there is a clinician practicing who doesn't have an underlying degree of anxiety about what they do every day, then they're not doing it properly. I've been doing my job for 30 years. When I go into my clinic, I think, what's going to happen today? What will I miss? What will I overlook? What will challenge me? What will stretch with me? What patient will stretch me? You know, you've got to be careful. If somebody is a challenging patient, you have to be very careful to put that to one side so that you can truly, truly, truly engage with this person and try and find out what the underlying problem is. Just because you don't like them doesn't mean you can give them poor quality medical care. You have to bring yourself out of that and take yourself to a level above. So it is hard. But it's not, I don't want to paint a purely bleak picture, because there are many beautiful aspects of medicine as well. I guess the things, my personal reflections on my career in medicine, the things that I love the most. I love the diagnostics, the thrill of the chase. When someone comes into me as a general practitioner and says, I don't feel well and I don't know why, I'm on fire. That still gives me tingles down the back of my spine. I love being a terrier. I love getting to the bottom of the problem. And it can be unbelievably complex, particularly for us as general practitioners. Every specialty has its challenges. For us, we get undifferentiated problems. So the person who feels vaguely unwell could have anything. They might be tired and stretched. They might have a mental health illness. They might have cancer. They might just not be getting enough sleep. They might have iron deficiency. They might have hemochromatosis. They might have celiac disease. So for me, sorting that problem out, and I guess a lot of medicine is about problem solving, that's what gives me my intellectual challenge and my intellectual satisfaction. On a personal note, the thing that gives me the most joy is the connection with another human being. In our practice, we connect with people at the very best of times and the very worst of times. We are there at times of great joy, the diagnosis of the pregnancy that's been much anticipated, the birth of a new child, maintaining health. We might be doing health checks at a time when someone's going into a new phase of their life through new jobs, etc. There might be the thrill of making someone better. There's enormous satisfaction that comes from when someone comes back with a gift and says, thank you for what you did, you changed my life. And we do, we get enormous, we give you, as junior doctors, the power and the skills to do things that will change people's lives. The other time, though, is the tough times, and these again are very challenging. We are with people at times when they feel threatened, when they feel vulnerable, when they're facing illness, and when they're facing death. And again, while it might sound negative at this stage in your lives, as you mature and as you progress, and I will share, that these often can be just as satisfying as the moments of great joy. The birth of a child is immensely satisfying. A good death is also immensely satisfying. If you can relieve people's suffering and anxiety and provide them with a peaceful approach to the end of their life, that too is an enormous success. Death's not the enemy, death's inevitable. It's how we die. It's not death itself, it's the method of dying. And again, we have the skills and the ability to change people's suffering. I was one of the ones of you who went, I hadn't wanted to be a doctor, I had thought I would be a school teacher. The reason I thought I'd be a school teacher is because I loved learning, I loved education, I was surrounded by teachers, I valued them, I respected them, I looked up to them, I admired them and thought, I want to be like you. My choice in medicine came late when a career counsellor said, oh gee, you do really well in your exams, you could get into medicine. I went, sick people and dead bodies, who would do that for a living? Not for me. But fortunately I went away, I reflected on it and I came back to it, and I entered medicine not genuinely knowing what I was getting myself in for. However, I will tell you that despite the good days, despite the bad days, it is a decision that I've never regretted. So for those of you who are still coming too late, please do not feel compromised by that. You often make very, very good doctors. So, have I turned anyone off completely? Anyone ready to leave the room? Okay. Who's still a bit interested in medicine? Good. Okay. So, the next question is, why with us? Why with University of Queensland? Why our School of Medicine? This is our temple. This is our main medical school. My office is in this building. My heart beats a little bit faster as I walk in every day. There are many reasons why you would like to consider a career. We were the first medical school in the state. We were founded in 1936. We celebrated our 75th anniversary last year. We've graduated more than 10,000 doctors. I think, in fact, we're getting close to 12,000 now. And so we think we're getting pretty good at doing that. We've got full accreditation with the Australian Medical Council, which is the council that oversees all medical schools in Australia to ensure that we're all applying the appropriate education to graduate appropriate doctors. We're actually the largest medical program in terms of student numbers in Australia, and I have been told that we're the largest in the Southern Hemisphere. So, that some people have concerns about that, and I can understand why they'll feel that way. I guess as someone within the system, I don't feel concerned about that. My perspective on that is it gives us the best of both worlds. We have the benefits that very large student numbers bring, and I will share with you some of those benefits. But the way we manage the large cohort size is that we still have very small teaching groups. In phase 1 and 2, your core group is 10 to 12 students with a tutor. So there is a person that knows your name, probably your date of birth. We'll celebrate your birthday. We'll say, how are you going? How was your weekend? How are you travelling? Any concerns? Gee, you look a bit tired. Is there anything I can do to assist? So we still give very personalised care. The other thing, we rank very highly in the international rankings. You're welcome to look those up. They're on the website. But University of Queensland School of Medicine is well respected, and further evidence of that is through the fact that we attract international students, and we have people who are willing to pay very large amounts of money to come and join us. I remind my Australian domestic students every day how lucky they are to have this education provided at a relatively low cost compared to students who come from overseas. So, pathways into medicine. We've got two pathways. One is the school leaver. Some of you are looking at us from the perspective of still at high school and where are you heading. Others are looking at us from already doing courses and how can you join us. The school leaver pathway comes from students do the UMAT, they get an OP1, they are ranked. They come to us. Our program, for those that don't understand the system, our program is a graduate program. So what that means is you must have a degree prior to coming to us. So those who are accepted as school leavers then come into UQ, do a primary degree, and then move into the MBBS program, the medical program. Those who are graduates have got a prior degree, but it could come from anywhere, and again they go through, they do the GAMSAT and then are ranked and are offered positions. The sort of people we're looking for people who are intelligent. It's a given, you don't get in otherwise. We're looking for people who are compassionate, good communicators. You need an inquiring mind, and you need an inquiring mind for life. Medicine is not a degree that you finish, you get your piece of paper and you go away and you're baked. You continue to bake for the rest of your life. My students think it's enormously funny that I'm still learning. I still do assessments, I still do exams, and I still get feedback. It never ends. You must be a lifelong learner and you must enjoy it. If you don't enjoy it, medicine's not the career for you. We want people who are enthusiastic. There'll be good days and bad days. We want you to maintain your enthusiasm through the good ones. You must work in teams. The days of the doctor working independently are long gone. You will be a team player no matter what area of medicine you choose. We need students who are ethical, and we need students who are resilient. So, for the Year 12 students, OP1, UMAT ranking, any degree. In the past, there was the opportunity for students to do an accelerated program. As that's no longer available, you must complete your degree and come to us. That means that your journey will be a minimum of 7 years, so a minimum of 3 years. Some may choose degrees that are longer, for example engineering, and then come to us, so their pathway may be longer. Most common pathways are Bachelor of Science, Bachelor of Health Science. We have students from Bachelor of Arts, but any degree. Many of our students do other healthcare degrees, for example physiotherapy, optometry, pharmacy. Others come to us from engineering. Others come to us from quite interesting backgrounds, including music and arts. One of our presidents of our UQMS was a historian, and he was a very successful student, is now a very successful doctor. We welcome the diversity in our group. It enhances our experience and your experience. For our graduates, they have a first degree. Come to us via the GAMSAT, or MCAT is for the international students, you're ranked, and for those students it's the 4-year MBBS program. Our program's divided into Phase 1 and Phase 2. Phase 1 is Years 1 and 2, and that's where we establish your foundation knowledge and skills. Much of this teaching is in small groups. We currently use the PBL model in Phase 1, particularly in Year 1. So what happens is you come together as a small group, you work through a problem. Somebody presents with, the first one, you're driving home and you see a car crash. What do? Pull over, stop. What happens then? So we roll out these cases, and so that you work through the case with your group, and we add resources around it. There'll be lectures, there'll be tutorials, there'll be seminars, there'll be symposium, there'll be e-learning resources, and you gradually work your way through. It's not just about knowledge. We also begin your skills development in Phase 1. You'll start doing your clinical coaching, your communication skills, and your procedural skills from very early in the course. This is one of the great strengths of our program. Many of our international students tell us that they don't do any sort of clinical work until much later on. In our program, we start you very, very early. Phase 2, we have a series of clinical rotations, which I'll go through with you, but basically it's full clinical immersion. You'll be in a clinical environment, most commonly a hospital, rural area, general practice, etc., and you'll gradually work your way through all the disciplines, so medicine, surgery, etc. It's full-time, it's intensive, and it's hard work. If you rise to that challenge, you'll do well. If you find that too challenging, then maybe you need to rethink medicine. We think it's tough, but to the enormous credit of our very high-achieving students, some of them then choose to make it even tougher for themselves by taking on additional challenges, as well as their medicine program. So Phase 1, topics: medical science, clinical skills, ethics and professional practice. We value professionalism very highly. And we also value global medicine. We are Australia's global medical school, and the international experience is a very important one for us. For your information, we have 2 opportunities for international experiences. At the end of Year 1, we have an elective, as listed here, and we would encourage many of our students to embrace a range of challenges. Many enjoy the opportunity for an international experience, and many of our Australian students particularly enjoy the Third World experience. Many of our students go to Africa or India or Pacific Islands. Some like the alternative pathways, such as the North American experience, European experience, etc. The electives and elective, it's wide open. Further opportunities arise in Phase 2. As I said, we go through the rotation, so medicine, surgery. Medicine and society is about medicine in the community. For our Australian domestic students, that's a rural experience. For our international students, they can also have a rural experience in their home country. We have general practice and mental health, and Year 4 we do medical specialties, surgical specialties, O&G, obstetrics and gynecology, paediatrics and critical care. This is a second opportunity where you can have an international experience. You're allowed to, subject to meeting GPA requirements, we only allow our very best and brightest students to do this, but you have the opportunity to take 2 away rotations. So you could choose 1 or 2 of those and actually do them in another location. Again, subject to approval, we need to ensure that you will get an appropriate clinical experience with an appropriate preceptor, that the learning outcomes will be met, and that you'll be successful in your assessments. However, many of our students embrace this. One statistic was that in our graduating cohort last year, 80% of our students had had an international experience as part of their course. We regard ourselves as graduating doctors for the world, not just for South East Queensland. Our mechanism of delivering Phase 2 is via our clinical schools, and we have 10 clinical schools, in addition to the normal suburban, so the traditional players, which are all Brisbane and Women's and PA and Greenslopes and Marta and Northside. We also have the rural clinical school for students who are interested particularly in a rural future, a rural career. We have a clinical school in Brunei. We have a partnership with Brunei. We train some of their doctors who return to Brunei to work, and in return we have the opportunity of providing some wonderful experiences in Brunei. Now, some of my students tell me that you can actually fly out into the jungle with the army and treat the pygmies in the jungle. I personally haven't had that opportunity yet, but I'm looking forward to it very much. The other school that we're very proud of is our American school. We have a school called the ochsner Clinical School. It's located in New Orleans, in Louisiana, in the United States. Now, we have a very special arrangement with them, which is really quite groundbreaking. The ochsner Clinical School attracts students, US citizens, who come to Australia. They spend Phase 1 with us here and with our students, and so they have this component of their education. And then in Phase 2, they return back to Ochsner, the Ochsner Health System in New Orleans, and they complete most of their rotations. They come back to us again usually in their final year. So the purpose of this from the Ochsner side is that they are partnering with UQ to produce their own graduates. The benefit for us from this is that this provides, again, the international connection for our students. In addition to their capacity for the Ochsner cohort, there is capacity for some of our students to go to the Ochsner Health System for their away rotations. Let me tell you, this is an amazing experience. This gives you an opportunity to experience firsthand the American system. The facilities at the Ochsner Clinical School, both the facilities and the clinical experiences are extraordinary. Their faculty are so enthusiastic. They love their Australian partnership. We have Australian and American flags, and they celebrate Australia Day and we celebrate Thanksgiving. So it's a very happy arrangement. And the other opportunity for our students is for some of our students who may like to pursue a career in North America. This is an opportunity to get to know preceptors. In the US and Canada, it's very important to have relationships in order to get jobs, and this is an opportunity. This photo was taken at the white coat ceremony for our very, very first cohort. It's relatively new. We're just, this beautiful group of young people are graduating this year. This was the white coat ceremony. Sitting next to me is our Dean, Professor Wilkinson, and the ceremony, students, as they move from their Phase 1 preclinical into their clinical years, they're given a white coat, which enables them to go into hospitals, and they're given a very special pin, and it's a humanity pin. It's to remind them about humanity in medicine, and they take an oath to respect all humans at all times. It's a very touching, dare I say, eye-watering experience. I had a little tearful moment during this one. It was just divine, and very proud for us. Our graduation this year will be an equally proud moment. So, what makes us special and different, or what makes our graduates? In addition, I mentioned before that there were value-add experiences. So, the things that we can offer you, in addition to a normal medical education, which you can get at a number of medical schools around Australia, we have what we call tracks. There is the clinician scientist track. UQ is a research-rich environment. It is like a smorgasbord of opportunities. The opportunities for our students include everything from the dip the toe in the water experiences, such as volunteering to join a group and do some work in the research arena, summer scholarships where you dedicate a couple of weeks over your summer holidays to actually being actively involved as a team member. Some of our students apply, again, subject to GPA requirements, do an honours project. Some of our students do an MPhil, which is a higher degree, and some of our students, extraordinarily enough, also do a PhD as part of their training. It's, again, a wealth of opportunity. We also have a medical leadership program, and this is a very special, and I will say loudly, elite experience. Our very large cohort, we had 540 students join us in Year 1 this year. Of those, we chose 10, just 10, who can join our leadership program. The leadership program is an alliance between the UQ School of Medicine and the UQ School of Business, and our students go through a process of training which is 4 modules, which leads to them graduating. When they leave us with an MBBS and a graduate certificate in executive leadership. This is an enormously amazing experience. One of the future areas for medicine is doctors as leaders, and we believe that what we are doing is the first time in Australia and is quite different to even what's being offered overseas. So it is an extraordinary experience. The value of that scholarship is just under $20,000, and these selected students get it free of charge. We've also got tracks for Indigenous health. We have leaders in our Indigenous program and many opportunities to be exposed to Indigenous medicine, both rurally but also in the urban community. We tend to think of Indigenous health as being a rural experience, but in fact the majority of it is in the urban environment. We also have our rural clinical school, particularly for students who can foresee a career in rural areas. We encourage the study of languages, and so students can study a language and then use one of their away rotations to practice medicine in an area that speaks that language. And global medicine is one of our areas that we're emerging. We see our global presence as a two-way thing. We encourage international students to join us, and we have a very large cohort of international students. In Year 1, we would have 300 domestic students, up to 130 international students, and in addition up to 120 of our ochsner students who are US. Our international students include not only US, Canada, Europe, but also students from Asia, Africa, India, other areas. One of the games our Dean likes to play at the beginning of every year is for the international welcome. He has the country of origin of every student, and his personal goal is to have the entire alphabet represented. And the amazing thing is we usually do. Fortunately, we almost always have a student from Zimbabwe, so it makes the Z really easy. We are moving, and I'm sure many of the questions after will be about this, we are moving towards an MD program. Many people see this as a major revolution. We don't see it as a revolution at all. We see it as just part of our normal evolution. We will be moving. Currently, we have an MBBS, which is a Bachelor of Medicine, Bachelor of Surgery, as our qualification. There is a move, generally, not just at UQ School of Medicine, but at all the medical schools, to move towards an MD, which is a Doctorate of Medicine. The changes that go to that from what we currently have are a small step, not a giant leap. And the truth is, if we were really honest with ourselves, most of our students would meet the requirements of an MD anyway. The trigger for this is there's a new body that's overseeing university qualifications, and they've released a new framework defining, what's a bachelor degree, what's a grad cert, what's a diploma, what's a master's, etc. And so with the refresh of this Australian qualifications framework, all of the medical schools have looked at it and said, our students are performing way above the level of a bachelor degree. Most of them are performing at this level, and so this is about getting recognition for what we currently do. If you are interested, this is an area that's evolving daily. I mean, we're working through all the logistics now, so I can't tell you all the answers because we haven't thought of all the answers yet. There is a site, and I've given you the address here. So if you just go to UQ, go for the School of Medicine website, if you just type in Doctor of Medicine, you'll find it. If you're interested, the address line is there. You can have a look. That site is updated regularly, and it's got frequently asked questions, so if you've got any questions, please refer to that. We've got a couple more minutes. Student life. It's not all about work. Our students have a wonderful time with us. I've got a couple of pictures just to share with you. Our students do a lot of altruistic work. This, as part of their electives and their away rotations, many of our students go to impoverished areas. Not only do they sharpen their own medical skills, but they take something back. Our students have adopted various places, and when they go for their electives, for example, there's a hospital in Manali, which is in the north of India. Our students have adopted that as an ongoing project, and they've been doing this for 5 or 6 years now, where every year we send a bunch of students for their elective. They take along medical supplies, they fundraise. Manali needs an outpatient department. It's quite embarrassing to learn that all it takes, the total cost of building an outpatient department is $12,000 Australian, which in Australian dollars is not a big deal. Our kids have taken that on as a project, so they're madly fundraising for it. They also do volunteer work in many other areas. Some of our kids were in Samoa at the time the tsunami hit, and so they were part of the relief operation that occurred. They also have a lot of fun. We have a Queensland Medical Orchestra, which performed last weekend. Every time I go, I get tingles down my spine. They are so professional. There are innumerable parties. There's lots of sporting events. This is a silly thing we do with the international students when we welcome them. They do the Tim Tam thing where you bite your corner off your Tim Tam and you suck your coffee through it and it explodes in your mouth. So we do that just to entertain them. We usually have a welcome barbecue for them as well. The students put on a med review, which I must share with you is coming up next week. Phil and I are a little bit cautious already. The purpose of the med review is to entertain, and part of their entertainment is to send up their faculty and preceptors in a way that's completely disrespectful but very funny, so we completely love it. So they do have a lot of fun as well. And this is probably one of the chief experiences of your time. The kids have a sports day every year. So the fourth years dress up in pink because they're raising money for breast cancer. And they start at our lovely medical school and they walk, stroke, run, stroke, some of them drive, some of them cycle their way through various hotels on their way to the St Lucia campus, where they play all sorts of silly games and have a really tremendous day. So it's not all about work. We do give time for